To today?
Well, I'm Christy Brownfield. I'm actually from Graduate Assistants United, an IEA affiliate down at Southern Illinois University Carbondale. So,
all right. And so, why did you make it a point to be here today?
Well, because I think the labor movement, and particularly labor history, is important. We need to know where we come from and protect that history and protect our rights now. So what they fought for then, we're still fighting for it. Especially now, the attacks on collective bargaining, and it's important to respect that and honor that history.
So what's happening where you are?
Well, there's been a lot of attack on the education unions at SIUC, especially, and a lot of attacks on just tenure and basic bargaining rights. So the stuff that you saw in Wisconsin, and it's happening in a small scale.
Well, what are some of the issues as far as bargaining rights and pensions as far as teachers? What are some of the frictions you're coming up against?
Well, I mean, obviously there's just an overall attack on pensions, like public pensions in Illinois, and that's one big problem. My local, of course, since we're graduate assistants, we're not eligible for any type of pension. So,
how do you address that?
Well, part of it is that we're acting to protect potential pensions. Okay, you graduate, you get a job in Illinois, it's going to become important to you. So we try and get people educated and involved in that sense. But a lot of what you see is just pension reduction. People are really kind of concerned about the raising retirement ages, things like that, because nobody wants to work until they're 40 years, until they're 70 or whatnot. So that it's working. That's the issue that seems to resonate with my local, is that retirement age.
Well, I mean, what?
Well, there's been a lot of moves to sort of dismantle the tenure system for university professors, and that's about basically dismantling job security. So you're seeing a loss of tenure track and tenure positions, and a replacement with sort of my locals, graduate assistants, people who are learning, and like adjuncts and non-tenure tracks. So the more like contingent labor, there's been a real rise in contingent labor in higher education over the last 10 years as well. So,
well, where's this labor pool going to come from if there is no tenure, there is no chance of pension? Who will toil in academia?
Good question. I wish I knew. I'm sure that I think that at that point you'll get people who are doing it because, and you see this with a lot, just education. Like most teachers are not doing this for the pension or for the money. They're doing it because they love education, and you want to make sure that you want to help students, you want to educate people. So you do it for the love of education, not for any of the benefits. But the way things have been going, even the pool of people who are doing it for the love of education is starting to increase, because we're getting demoralized and disheartened by all of these attacks on us as teachers who are performing a public good.
Well, I mean, I don't see where this is going other than a class of elitists and dilettantes.
Well, I suppose that that is the way it's moving, is like the corporatization of higher education in some ways, is that you're moving towards a system where if you could pay for it, you get into it. But you're also seeing that on all levels with the vouchers in K-12. So it's about basically providing a service for people who can pay, rather than public education for the public good that creates an informed, educated public who votes and is involved and really creates America in the future. That's what education should be about, and we've been moving away from that.
Otherwise, we wouldn't know about Haymarket.
Yes, exactly. This isn't something, when I was, I went through public schools, and this is something that I never learned about until I got involved in a union. I had no idea that any of this happened. And I actually lived in Chicago for a while, and like 3 miles from here, and I had no idea that this ever happened. And I think it's important that we hold on to that history.
And as an educator, what does this say about the American culture that we're able to suppress history?
Well, my trade is sociology, so The truth is that history is negotiable. It's always been negotiable because it's written by people, it's orchestrated by people, and only certain stories are told. So, what we're seeing in American culture is that the story of labor isn't being told. And that sets up a lot of things that are going on right now in terms of attacks on unions, low union membership and overall, sort of the move to dismantle like public sector unions, things like that. So, I mean, soapbox.
Thank you again. This is what we're here for.